looking at the steering wheel as well as the cluster screen inside of the Polestar 3. Now this is going to be a similar setup to what you'll find in other Polestar vehicles, but in order to be able to start the vehicle up, there's no physical push button start. So once you hop inside, foot on the brake, and then either just shift into reverse or drive in order to be able to start the vehicle up. And we are officially started up right now. But there are so many different buttons and different stalks. So the steering wheel inside of the vehicle, heated, and then you've also got the option for adjusting it out through the infotainment system. So all you're going to do, you can go to your adjustment screen here, and that gives you a few options. So you can adjust out your side mirrors or your steering wheel. When you navigate through, you're then using this pad, and it lets you know because you can see the steering wheel there, which means that we're adjusting the steering wheel. You can move it down, back up, in, out, etc. So it's a full telescoping steering wheel. Once you've got that position that you'd like, release and you're good to go. And then you can also adjust your side view mirrors. So you can actually fold your side view mirrors if you wanted to power fold them in or back out again. And then you can easily adjust out the left versus the right mirror. So same idea. We're going to select left or right and then use the pad here in order to adjust. So you can see there, we've got the little icon for the left mirror. So as you go up or down, that's going to let you adjust out the mirror. Same thing here, right mirror shoots you out to the right side, and then you're adjusting out the mirror that way, again, just by moving left, right, up or down to be able to do it. And then you can adjust out your head-up display, which I'll touch on as we dive deeper into this walkthrough. And your stalk along the left-hand side. So it's pretty simple. You've obviously got your blinkers there. Then you can lightly flash in order to get your high beams going during the day, but you can't permanently lock them out. We go into what's known as the auto high beam mode. So if the vehicle recognizes high beams are needed, it turns them on automatically. Somebody's oncoming, it turns them off before turning them right back on again. If you wanted to permanently lock your high beams out during the daytime, what you're going to do, if we go to our little car icon and then lights, that gives you a bunch of options. So adjusting up the interior lights and then your different headlight modes for the outside. You'll be in the auto mode the majority of the time. So with the auto mode there, so you push away to go into the auto headlamp mode or high beam mode. So if the vehicle recognizes high beams are needed, it turns them on automatically. If somebody's oncoming, it turns them off before turning them right back on again. It's just that in the daytime, so you can flash them out. You just can't permanently lock them out during the daytime. So if you wanted to permanently lock them out, what you're going to do, go into your headlamp mode there, and then push away to get those high beams going. And then you can pull towards you in order to turn them off. It's just that, well, when we go back into the auto mode, it actually defaults us back to auto there too. Then you've got a rocker switch here. So if you use this, that's going to let you control the speed of the front windshield wipers. Along the left side, you've got a few different buttons there. So the one along the top, if you just do a light push, that's going to be just a single wipe. If you push and hold it, that's going to get your windshield wiper fluid going. And then down low, you've got a control for the rear wiper. So just do a little button push in order to be able to toggle it on. And then if you push and hold it, that's going to get your wiper fluid going there too. Then you could also toggle it on or off permanently there too. So it's just going to keep on running, yay or nay. Now, one thing about the left turn stalk too is that if you just do a light push down, that's just going to be a triple blink. But if you do a longer or a harder push down, that's going to keep the turn signal permanently on. And then you could just do a light tap in order to be able to disable it. Then your stick along the right-hand side is going to be for your shifter. So with your foot on the brake, you could go up in order to go into reverse. Now when you're in reverse there, look at that. Your full 360 camera available 3D view. But I mean the 3D view looks so cool. From there, you could lightly push down to go into neutral, all the way down to go into drive. And then there's a button on the tip of that right stick in order to put yourself into park. Then you've got a few other buttons, but the pads here are actually dependent on what you're doing. So as of right now, we've got no systems enabled or really activated right now, but you can see here, we've got a little check mark available. So this button is going to act as an OK button inside of that cluster screen. And then you've also got this pad here. So if you do a light tap over, you can see there, you can turn on your voice assistant. So you'd be able to do things like change songs, radio stations, navigate using your voice, and so many other things, including controlling climate and things like that. So what I'd actually recommend is take a little bit of time getting used to the voice command prompts because it is a phenomenal system once you do get the hang of it. And then you can drag down, and this one is going to give you the flexibility of adjusting what's going on inside of that cluster screen. But before I get there, one element I missed on the steering wheel along the right-hand side is going to be for turning on cruise control. So you've just got a single type of cruise. It's going to be adaptive cruise. So what you're going to do as you're driving, You're in drive there, you're going to push down, and then that is going to toggle on the system for you at whatever your current speed is. And then that's where the left pad comes into play. So you'd be able to then push up or down this way in order to increase to the nearest 5 or 0 kilometers or miles. If you push and hold up, or if you push and hold down, that's going to bring you up or down 1 kilometer, 1 mile per hour at a time. You can hit the brake to cancel your speed. You'd have to re-engage by pushing the stalk down in order to reset your speed, and it's at whatever your current traveling speed is. So it's relatively easy using it, and then you've got a few different assist systems that are available over and above that. So through the infotainment system, if you hit your little car icon there, and then your vehicle settings, you've got some different options for drive. So different options for power delivery, your steering and suspension feel, things like that. So do you want it to be a little bit sportier, etc.? But more importantly, your different options for assist. So your pilot assist, steering assistant. So where that comes into play is that if the vehicle recognizes the lane markings, it keeps you perfectly balanced in your lane. You can take your hands off the steering wheel for about 10 seconds before you get a message in the cluster telling you that steering is required. So you need to put your hands back on the wheel. But it is a phenomenal system otherwise. And then there's also lane change assist. So on highways, interstates, etc., you'd have the option of hitting the turn stalk to go left or right. It's going to check to see if there's anybody in the lane next to you and then automatically move over. And you know that it's available because you'll get a little icon on the upper part of the cluster screen there. But the pilot assist systems, your distraction systems are great. Lane keeping, if you start to veer over to another lane without signaling, it's going to give you a little vibration, nudge you back into your lane. And then there's also a distraction alert. So if you're looking a little bit drowsy, if you're kind of nodding off, things like that, eventually the vehicle is going to tell you that you should probably take a break. But if you want a full walkthrough on the infotainment system, you'll find that down in the description of this video. And then you've got your basic cluster screen here. So there are 3 unique views available for the cluster. But you can see there, you've got your lights that are available, so your different light modes there, along with your current vehicle speed, your battery level, and then your percentages there. You've got this little line. So that essentially is going to act as your power gauge, and then your regenerative braking gauge. Looks slightly different depending on which version of the screen that you're in. Now, if you take the button down here, so you're looking at the lower button on the right pad, you're going to tap that, and that's going to let you go into different views. So you've got your little map and cluster view, there's a driver assistance view, and the driver assistance view as you drive looks really cool. So it's going to look at the actual lane markings as you drive. If there are cars, motorcycles, trucks passing you, you'll see that go through the cluster screen there. As they pass you, you pass them, etc. And it differentiates between cars, motorcycles, and trucks. It looks really neat as you go to drive. But you've got different views, so if you want more of a minimalistic look, or if you prefer that map and cluster view, I mean, that looks really good. So hold on, let's get a route going right now. And then look at that.
Head west, then turn left.
So you've got your full map and cluster view there. If we switch around, that's going to give us our minimalist view with just the turn-by-turn directions. Pushing again is going to give us same thing, so different view with just our basic turn-by-turn directions, but having your full map and cluster there, I think that looks phenomenal. Now that's strictly going to be for factory navigation, specifically for Google Maps. So if your iPhone was hooked up, it wouldn't show your map applications through your phone through this. And that's the same thing with the little turn-by-turn directions. Then you've also got a head-up display inside of the ride. So with an active route going, you'd be able to see your turn-by-turn directions right in that head-up display, along with your vehicle speed. But there's not really much that you can do from a customization perspective. Inside of the infotainment system, under your settings, if you go to your adjustments, then you've got steering wheel or head-up display. And that's where you're going in order to toggle the display off. So if you just don't want to use the head-up display, you can toggle it off. But when you're on this screen, you'd then be able to use this pad in order to adjust the head-up display. So do you want the display to move up or down? So how do you want it sitting? And then you can also adjust out the brightness as well. I recommend the highest available brightness. It just makes it easier to see. Inside of the infotainment system, if you go to your applications, settings, you've got so many options, but if we go system and apps, you've got measurement units where you'd be able to adjust out. Do you want to be in either kilometers or miles? So you can see that adjusting out there, but you can also adjust out your speed. So do you want to be in kilometers an hour, miles per hour, etc.? So you can easily adjust that out. So if you're going cross-border, then you can also adjust out your climate underneath the screen. So do you want to be in Celsius or Fahrenheit? So that's all done through your measurement systems there, or measurement units, and then you can adjust out your languages and a bunch of other things. So I know that is a heck of a lot of info, but that's everything you need to know about the steering wheel, the cluster, and the head-up display inside of the Polestar 3.